Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by
Animals have the ability to smell scent half a mile away. But what good is an attractant if the animals have to be close to smell it? Introducing an industry-first vapor system. Vapor lasts longer and travels farther. Wind Scent by Fourth Arrow. Active vapor for deadly success.
Hey everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson and we've got a great show for you this week. Now, deer hunting is still in full swing. We're in muzzleloader season right now, but there is some amazing fall fishing to be had around the state too. This week I'll take you out jigging for walleye on Lake Huron, and Jimmy's got another fun adventure for us too this week.
Well, that's right, Jenny. I am going to take us on an adventure out of the port of Manistee on the big water, something I've never done before here in the state of Michigan, to go big water fishing in the month of December. But that's what we're going to do, and we're going to catch a lot of steelhead while we're doing it. So much good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor since 1988, featuring varieties of homemade sausage, jerky, brats, and gourmet entrees. Holiday gift boxes can be assembled in-store or online. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By Showspan, producing consumer shows including the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit, January 11th through 14th at Novi's Suburban Collection Showplace. This show features fishing tackle, trips, boats, and seminars from top pros. The Ultimate Fishing Show, Novi, January 11th through 14th. By KL Outdoor, a Muskegon manufacturer of sportsman's outdoor products for over 30 years, featuring the Terrain line of hard-sided hunting blinds designed for quick setup and removal with quiet operation. For more information and other products, kloutdoor.com.
Michigan-based Vanguard manufactures an array of binoculars, ranging in size and design, and backed by a lifetime warranty. Discover Vanguard sporting optics at vanguardworld.us.
Last week found me in Manistee, crawling aboard what could possibly be one of the last big boats still on the water on this side of the state.
Today's December 1st. We're going out of Manistee on the Big Lake. We are going to try and catch some steelhead. That's our focal point on today's trip, is targeting the steelhead in the top 20 foot of water. We will be fishing for some kings on our riggers and divers also, in case we hook up on a nice king. But weather has been really tough this fall. It's been windy and the lake it's been rolling over a lot. The water temperature is 43 degrees on the surface, which is pretty warm for this time of year. So we're gonna target the steelhead and see what happens.
Also on board today to help reel in fish was my buddy Jeff Miller and a legend here in West Michigan fishing, Mark Chimura.
This is my 30th year doing this, and you know, we had a pretty good run of steelhead earlier this year, and it was doing really good up the river. But what happened here is the river water got a lot colder than the lake water, and we're like 10 degrees difference between the river and the lake. Okay. So there's like a wall that we can't see, but a hot to cold water wall, and it's keeping the fish out there. So a lot of the guys up the river are struggling, and it's nice to be able to go out and do this, but you got to really watch yourself because the water's so cold. You know, it's dangerous, but it's a lot of fun. You won't see nobody out there. It's an awesome way to fish.
Well, typically, you know, when we come out here, we look for any slicks, which is, you'll see some glacier water. It'll kind of look like it's calmer than the rest of the water. And we're looking for the birds. You'll see a lot of birds flying over the top of a certain area in the water column. And there's usually some bait fish that are hanging out right there. Okay. So that kind of gives you an idea where to start. And you know, once you find that out, you'll set rods. Like over to the right over there's some birds, you know, probably a quarter mile away sitting on the water right now. So we're going to set lines and work towards those birds, and then hopefully we'll get all set up and, you know, hit a fish right away then.
Well, the first fish of the day was in the boat after searching for a bit, but this size is a perfect eater size for sure.
But there's a really good year class of this size steelhead right now,
Yeah.
which is really promising, you know, for the next 2, 3, 4 years. So we got one for the grill. We'll get some bigger ones.
Once we found the fish, we stayed on him for most of the morning. While Jeff reeled in another fish, I asked Lenny how he got started fishing up this way.
I moved up here about 7 years ago to Manistee. I used to fish here a few tournaments, and the fishing is probably the best year-round fishing. It starts in May, and even as early as April for the brown trout, and it goes all the way until now, you know, until the weather forces you off. So the kings running up the Manistee and the Little Manistee River, there's a good wild population of fish here. So it's a good, stable place to fish year-round for salmon also.
Well, Lenny was up next, and it looked like we had found a bigger fish.
Hey, whoa!
Definitely nicer fish.
That's a dandy.
It's a good one. There are some big ones out here. Just have to weed through them. Oh yeah.
Whoa, look at that fish.
Steelhead fishing here in December.
Wow.
That's the mojo too.
And you look at this gentleman right here. If you look at him, you wouldn't think he could do something like this, would you? All right, here you go. Have your fish, Lenny.
All right.
Today was a lot of fun for several reasons. Of course, connecting with fish is great, but seeing these guys who typically are helping others reel in fish, reel in a few for themselves, well, it was pretty special. And since we had a few extra hands on deck, even I was able to take a crack at one.
Oh, no! Oh. Jeez, so Pete, that fish was jumping out of the water so much. Oh.
Well, it must have been some faulty equipment, I am sure. But right after mine got off at the back of the boat, we had another nice steelhead on. Of course, I got so much grief for losing the one fish, I had to make sure that this one got into the boat.
Good, Omar. All right, we're good. Big fish. Big steelhead. Big steelhead. Oh, baby.
Whoa!
Andy.
That's a fish. Look at that big steelhead. Woo-hoo-hoo! Nice job, Captain.
Thank you.
December 1st, Lake Michigan. Never done anything like this. What a great fish.
Now, my buddy Jeff is a very avid angler, and it was pretty funny that every fish he was reeling in, well, it was on the smaller size. But you know what? I barely mentioned that to him all day long.
Well, at least we brought you to catch all the small ones, Jeff.
I'm your man for that.
You're filling in the gaps.
Now, we did have a few downriggers set for kings to start the day, but we quickly realized we needed to pull those up and just target the top of the water column. Manistee has a lot to offer the angler.
Pretty much from Big Point, which is down by Ludington, just about 7 miles north of Ludington, there is a real big drop-off, and that runs pretty much all the way up past Arcadia, and then it slowly tapers off up by Frankfurt, and you know, it drops off into deeper water up there. But there's a ledge out there, and it pretty much pushes, if you get west-southwest winds, it pushes the fish up against that ledge, and it really funnels them in there. We were on the outside of that today, that the fish were out a little bit deeper. We were pretty much fishing between 300 and 400 foot of water. For whatever reasons, they were out a little bit farther today off of that shelf. But the Manistee has a really great structure based on you can fish anywhere from the point all the way up to Arcadia. So you have 25 miles of that shelf, and you're not congregated, you know, like down by the point where all the Ludington boats fish. So it makes it nice up here.
You got a big one there?
Either that or a little one with a big attitude.
Not Lenny.
No.
Little one with a big attitude?
Lenny's real little with a really big attitude.
In all seriousness, Mark, who has fished these waters for a while, was singing the praises of Lenny, who is really becoming a name in this part of the state.
It's pretty light now.
So Mark was in the business of milking what seemed like a very good fish. In the meantime, we had another fish hit. Jeff was up to bat, and really by the time Jeff had his to the boat, Mark's fish was almost ready as well. Now, if you ever wonder why some of these guys carry 2 big nets, well, this is why.
Oh, that's a toad! Wow!
Wow. That's a steelhead.
The man, the myth, the legend comes through.
I might go fishing with you guys again.
Nice fish! Holy cow!
Wow. Fish, huh?
Now, Jimmy, now I can say it. Now, Jimmy, what had happened is I was reeling it in. You got to know when to pull and when not to pull. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I can get away with that now.
Look at that fish.
What a country.
Gosh. That's as good as the steelhead gets, isn't it?
Yeah, I tell you what, I'd love to go with you guys again. I mean, it's not too often that a captain gets to catch a fish this size.
Man,
Beautiful
that's
fish.
great.
With your fish too.
Oh man. Couple of dandies. And some fish too.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, there you go.
So we're 1 fish shy of a limit. We're reeling in the last rod, I am. Nothing on it, just bringing it in the board. Fish hits it while I'm reeling it in. So I really don't want to lose this one. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo!
And he come out in the net.
And it came out of the net.
All right.
Whoa, look at that tangerine. Oh, wow. Last fish of the day, reeling it in and it hits it. It's better to be lucky than good, I tell you what. What a nice fish. Nice job, captains.
There again, I just want to let you all know out there in Michigan, it don't get no better than this. And as you can see, anybody can do this.
That is true.
What a great day on the water. December steelhead fishing on the big water. We ended up going 12 for 13 and had a lot of laughs. Just another example of what our great state has to offer us here in Michigan's Out of Doors. Well, as you can see, we had a ton of fun out of the port of Manistee with both Mark and Lenny, and when we got back to the dock, I had Mark run us through a product that he's been kind of working on over the last several years. It's pretty amazing what our Michigan sportsmen can come up with.
So Mark, tell me about this this new rod holder that you got going on. How did you start with this whole idea?
Well, about 4 years ago, one of my customer friends kind of challenged me. He wanted wanted me to build him a rod holder for his boat, and I just wanted to get one of the ones that are out on the market, and he wasn't fond of that. So he wanted one to go in any position. So I made one that went anywhere up and down, and he brought it to him and he said, "That's beautiful. Now can you make it go left and right?" And this gentleman invented the modem for the computer. Good friend, very smart guy. And I said, if you can invent a modem for a computer, I can make this thing go left and right. Little did I know, 3 days later on my desk, scratching with pen and paper, I couldn't come up with anything. And then I think on the third day, the Lord looked down on me and said, I'm going to give the guy a bone because he's working so hard. He's dumb as a box of rocks, but I'll help him out. So I came up with this thing, and it's unbelievable. I've been having the time of my life for the last 3 years with it. And this one's made out of all stainless. It can be for a diver rod, anything, but I put detents in there so that when you're turning your diver rod around, you can have it anywhere you want it. And the rod holder virtually goes anywhere. So
Yeah, show me that again. So if you grab onto that little clamp,
just squeeze it together and wherever you want it, and then you just let go and it stays there. Done.
wow.
Tremendous amount of pressure you can put on it. 316 stainless. We can't find a better material to make out. You can't do it any better. And I'm just enjoying trying to make the best mousetrap I can because the ingredients are all there. So
Nice.
it's really enjoyable, and it's good for Michigan.
Yeah,
We
and
do
now
what we
when will
can to help
these-
the sportsmen out.
when will these be on the market then, you think?
They'll be on for sure this spring. We'll have a ton of them, but they'll start at the Grand Rapids show.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
coming to a town near you.
I love to see how creative the Michigan sportsmen can be, time after time coming up with something to help our time in the woods or on the water. Whether it's a new rod holder or a better stinger hook, our sportsmen and women are a pretty amazing group of folks.
Well, like most of us who enjoy deer hunting here in Michigan, I try to spend as much time in the deer woods as I can during the season. But when my friends from Port Huron called and said that the walleye fishing was on fire, I figured I had to get out there for one morning and check it out. You may remember this past winter on the show, we spent some time with Franz Neruda from the Port Huron area. Franz showed us how he spends his downtime in January and February waiting for the spring walleye fishing to start back up. He has the system down pat for tying stinger hooks and painting jig heads to match his baits. Come fishing season, Franz is loaded and ready with his arsenal. Franz and his fishing buddy Mike Shea got a hold of me in early November and said they were doing pretty well on walleye in the Port Huron area. Anglers were catching fish in the St. Clair River and up in Lake Huron where it funnels down and dumps into the river. I met Franz and Mike just before daybreak at the boat launch, which was already busy. The walleye bite over here happens all day long, but is better in the morning, according to Franz.
We're planning, we're going to go up, we're going to run up into the lake. There's a mud line up there. We're going to try to catch as many fish as we can up there. And if we don't hit the bigger fish up there, we'll drop down to the river, down to a couple of holes just south of Black River. Well, we started out this morning just about half hour before daylight. We went up, ran over and fished the Canadian side of Lower Lake Huron. What happens there on the Canadian side is there's a 70-foot hole. And the way the current works down, like around there, is the fish goes down in the hole during the day and they migrate back out to feed after that. Here at the bottom of Lake Huron, all of the water is funneled down and dumps into the St. Clair River, creating a swift 7-mile-per-hour current. Franz drifts over the hole and then motors back up current to start again. It's similar to Detroit River fishing without the crowds. Port Huron's kind of like a little secret walleye spot. It was.
Do you see more and more people showing up? Or?
Yeah, you see different variety of guys, and we kind of talk to everybody out here, and Flint, Detroit, everybody comes down for the run.
Just like any walleye fishing action, word spreads and fishermen show up to take part in it. Here on Lake Huron, Mike was tangling with the first fish of the day. It ended up being a smaller walleye that would go back in the water. These guys have been fishing every morning out here, and they know there's bigger fish to be had. Just a minute later, Franz had a hit and was battling another walleye.
It's a little bit bigger one. Fishing has been good on the Canadian side all year, all summer.
Okay. And you go out, pretty much every day until deer hunting really gets started, right?
Yes, I do. I go out every day, if not every other day. It's just whether I catch fish or I don't, I just like being on the water. It's just fun feeling that fish on the other end of the line. I pretty much vertical jig. That's all I do. I don't hand line anymore, and I have everything to go whipping, and I don't go whipping. But I like to feel them out, like on a lighter rod.
There are so many fun techniques to use and an endless variety of outdoor sports to take part in here in Michigan in the fall. On this beautiful November morning here on Lower Lake Huron, we ran into Captain Brian Meredith and his buddies. These guys were taking turns duck hunting in a layout boat over on the Michigan side and were making the most of their time in the tender boat by jigging for walleye while they waited. Now that's the way to have a fin and feather adventure. Back on our boat, Franz and I were talking about walleye fishing opportunities here on the water. Here, how long will guys fish for them here?
They'll fish to them all the way through to December. Like when you start getting later in December and stuff like that, it's hit or miss. One day you'll find them, the next day you won't, because a lot of the fish that are there right now are migrating down and around from Saginaw Bay.
Okay.
Some go into the Saginaw River and stuff, as you know. The guys are killing them up there too. And the thing is, a lot of them are moving around and they're heading down Detroit River down to Lake Erie.
As a foul-hooked fish went back in, Franz and I talked about the social aspect of fishing out here.
A lot of the guys that are out there, especially during the week, we pretty much, even the guys that fish from Canada and the American side, we all pretty much know each other. So Everybody's very courteous to one another. You know, as you noticed today, is once one person comes in and starts catching fish, everybody comes in and follows right in line. Nobody's trying to cut each other off and stuff like that because there's more than enough fish for everybody.
It's kind of a social thing too, right?
Yes, it is. It's a real social thing. And it kind of bothers you if you don't see guys that you fished with last year. You don't see them the next year because you kind of wonder about them, see how they are.
We were having a great time out here, and the fishing was pretty steady. On the Canadian side of the lake, the daily limit is 6 walleye per person, and the guys were closing in on fish number 9. We were on our way to that magical point where the camera lady gets to fish too. Nice.
Here you go, Johnny.
Cool. We're going to give you fish holding lessons when we're done today.
Okay. Wait a minute. Do you want me to?
You can see his face and everything.
I mean, so you go like
You see his face.
like this?
Kinda. Yeah.
How about like that?
Beautiful.
There you go.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
All right, we're up to 9 fish in the box.
Yep, we're at 9 right now.
Okay. Well, I think it was like 28 degrees this morning when we got out here on the water. We're all wearing our ice fishing gear. This is crazy. It's a lot of fun. Feels a little unnatural to be out on the water during the rut. All the bucks are running around right now, but there's always some great fall fishing to be had too.
Oh, that's a nice fish. Hey, you want to hand me the net?
Oh, yeah.
Or here, you can just...
Whoa!
Thank
Look
you,
at this! Nice! Franz, you gotta hold that one.
I will.
Fish on over here!
Okay, just a minute here.
I had to start catching fish over here because these guys are close to getting their two limits.
There you go.
Hey! Oh, self-release too.
Okay.
Look at this one.
How's that?
Beautiful.
Mike doesn't know how to catch fish.
Yeah, see? I bring
Jenny
you
with her first fish of the day.
All right, I'm going for some bigger ones, but this is a start. Brian and the guys were on their way to a few limits of fish too, and in our boat, Mike was learning how to run the camera and net fish at the same time. Little head shaking going on here. Ooh, I might need the net. Woo! Cool. Beautiful. Look at this. I'm taking my gloves off for this one. We got Mike running the camera and netting the fish. I'm not sure what Franz is doing up there.
I'm running the boat. You guys catch that fish.
Look at this. Beautiful Port Huron, actually Sarnia walleye over here on the other side of the river. This is a lot of fun out here. Catching some nice, decent sized ones too. Having a blast using Franz's jigs and stinger hooks.
We all caught fish on all different kinds of baits. There was no particular bait that was better than others. The thing is, I was running mackerel. We caught some really nice fish. We lost some really nice fish today. They're not biting very hard, but they're just, we're catching them on a lot of stinger hooks. And they're not engulfing the whole bait. But we did get a 3-person limit, but we caught some real nice ones, and it's going to be excellent table fare.
I think that might be our limit, boys. We'll have to check the clicker, but I think that might be it. We are having a blast out here this morning. This has just been so much fun. So many people are still out here fishing too this time of year. Pretty cool. Oh, Franz has one too.
Oh, nicer fish. Oh, it's in, it's off, it's gone.
Special thanks to Franz Neruda and Mike Shea for an awesome morning full of laughs, fun stories, and lots of walleyes for the dinner table. If you can stand to stay out of the woods for a day this fall, head over to Lake Huron and the St. Clair River for some jigging. It's a wonderful way to spend a morning here in Michigan's Out of Doors. Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you check us out online when you get a chance. You can do it a couple of different ways. Our website is michiganoutofdoorstv.com. On our website, you can check out older episodes, newer episodes, wild game recipes, all sorts of fun stuff there, or on social media at Michigan Out of Doors TV. We're on social media every few days letting you know where we are and what kind of adventures we're out on. And speaking of adventures, we've got a lot still planned for you yet this fall.
Well, we do have a lot of good stuff coming over the next several weeks here as we get ready for the holidays. There's some good muzzleloader action happening right now, lots of good fishing, so make sure that you are staying tuned. And if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Metalloid Firearms and Sports, developers of environmentally friendly firearm maintenance products for cleaning and protecting your firearm's metal, as well as wood and leather components. On the web at metalloidfirearmsproducts.com. By Jay's Sporting Goods, with locations in Clair and Gaylord. Jay's has been serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971, with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's. On the web at jaysportinggoods.com. By the Michigan Petroleum Association and the National Oil Heat Research Alliance, advocating the advantages of oil heat for home and environment through products like BioHeat Oil, which blends biodegradable materials into a renewable fuel source. Learn more at oilheatamerica.com. Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, east to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hand.